The Common Experience offers opportunities to interact with some of the world's leading voices. During the fall and spring semesters, there are often more than 150 total events. Among these is the LBJ Distinguished Lecture Series, named for Texas State's most famous alumnus, President Lyndon Baines Johnson. Other events include film screenings, philosophy dialogues, panel discussions, exhibitions, symposia conferences, and performances in music, theater, and dance. The Common Experience provides all incoming first-year students with a powerful common reading book related to the year's theme. Students discuss the book and explore the theme in university seminar classes and other courses, encouraging multiple sustained conversations as we pass together through the academic landscape. While a few events may be specifically tailored for first-year students, most events are intended for all students, undergraduates and graduates, as well as faculty, staff, and community members. The Common Experience is for everyone. Twister Marquis is a director of the Common Experience, and he is the 2018-2019 Innovation Theme Chair. He is a senior lecturer and faculty in the Department of English and Honors College. Twister is an innovative thinker, constantly looking for ways to improve the program. He is always looking for ways to make things run smoother and has helped the program grow a lot.
So, let's start off with why create a Common Experience program to begin with. In the years leading up to the Common Experience, there had been a growing divide between the students and various academic departments, and the individual departments themselves were extremely siloed from one another. There was a growing need for connection between the students, the faculty, and their classes, and many students were struggling to relate their core courses to their major-related coursework. Dr. Frost, one of the founding fathers of the Common Experience program at Texas State, had a solution to this problem, and with the help of the other founders, created this hopeful vision. Imagine then a scenario wherein students, faculty, staff, and community members engage in an ongoing conversation bounded by a common theme that endures throughout an academic year, that occurs both within and outside of the classroom, and that even extends beyond the boundaries of the campus. This quote is directly from one of the initial proposals Frost and the others submitted when they petitioned to bring a CE program to Texas State. So, who was a part of this dream team of sorts? Carlie is going to tell you a little bit more about them on the next slide.
On this next slide, we're going to cover the founders of the Common Experience program. We have 4 founders listed here. These 4 founders were the ones that were specifically mentioned in our interview with Twister. However, he did inform us that these are the 4 people that he could think of that would have been involved. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in to our list with that being said. The first name, as you might remember from the previous slide, is Dr. Christopher Frost. Dr. Frost is currently the Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences and a professor of psychology at St. Mary's University. Dr. Frost was said to be the most involved founder of this program, and whenever we saw any of the old, original notes that came from the conceptualization meetings from this program, or for this program, his name was all over that. And at the time of the creation of the program, he served as the director of the Honors College. The next founder on our list is Dr. Joanne Carson. Dr. Carson is currently a professor in the Department of Philosophy at Texas State University. The third founder listed is Dr. Vincent Luisi. Dr. Luisi is also a professor in the Department of Philosophy at Texas State. The last founder we have listed on our slide is Dr. Pam Wustenberg. Dr. Wustenberg is currently a senior lecturer in the Department of Health and Human Performance at Texas State. During the program, or the time of the program creation, Dr. Wustenberg was the director of the university seminar, and Twister said that she is actually the one who kind of, in a roundabout way, pulled him into this program. And so that's kind of how he got his start within. I think he said she pulled him in to build the Common Experience website, and then after that, she kept pulling him in for more projects, and that's how he got involved. on the next slide, you'll see a physical representation of an organizational map. So the interesting thing about this picture is it's a document from the original time of the creation of the program. So during our interview, Twister pulled out this binder filled with historical documents related to the Common Experience. We got to look at program flyers and pamphlets, marketing tools, and more importantly, notes and original documents pertaining to the creation of the program, including what you see in front of you. This document was created in support for the materialization of the program. It kind of shows where their thinking was. So the picture you see kind of represents the physical structure of an atom or even the solar system. So while there's a team at the center, so the Common Experience team that you see in the center, the success of the program in general is dependent on the cooperation and or involvement of the other departments around that team. So this picture, while still relevant to the program, is a representation of where they started and a reminder of how much the program has grown.
The first Common Experience began in 2004, and Christopher Frost was the director at the time. Since Eli Wiesel was one of his professors in college, the selection committee chose hatred as the theme. With this in mind, the selected reading was Night by Eli Wiesel.
Since the first theme in 2004, there have been 13 others before the current 2018-2019 theme, which Brenda is going to highlight in the next slide. These themes of years past have covered a wide variety of topics, including courage, sustainability, global perspectives, mental health, democracy, conflict, and justice. Twister gave us the tip that it helps when a theme is short, catchy, and intentionally vague or open to interpretation. Not only does it allow for a broader spectrum of common experience events, but it gives them a break when it comes to creating marketing materials for the year. We're looking at you, theme of 08 to 09.
The 2018-2019 theme is innovation, with this year's book being The Runaway Species: How Human Creativity Remakes the World. The Runaway Species is a deep dive into the creative mind, a celebration of the human spirit, and a vision of how we can improve our future by understanding and embracing our ability to innovate. Some of this year's guest speakers have been Dr. Scott Solomon, an evolutionary biologist, Jose Hernandez, NASA astronaut, David Eagleman, and Anthony Brandt, authors of The Runaway Species, only to name a few.
The next slide we're going to cover is the overview of the change. So earlier we mentioned that, the reason the Common Experience program was created was to connect major related coursework to core coursework, connect the students to the faculty and staff through common conversations, and connect the campus community with the general community around the San Marcos community based on these common conversations that they could be having. So it kind of started off as a way to connect, and now it's kind of evolved into just a giant circle of connection. So where it used to, I believe the first theme was actually chosen because of a connection that Dr. Frost had with an author of a book, and they kind of based the theme from there. It has now changed into a proposal process. So what happens is they'll send out a call for proposals, and they send those to faculty and staff, and they sometimes include doctoral students, but they now have official policies that have recently been put into place, I believe about a year ago, where if a student is involved with the theme proposal, they have to be like a first-year graduate student or not about to graduate, because the next year, whenever that theme is put into play, they will be part of the process. There'll be a theme chair. So anybody who participated in the proposal process and the creation of those proposals will become theme chairs, and play heavily into the creation of the program for that year. After the theme or the call for proposal goes out, a committee will meet and go over all of the proposals, and they will choose one based off of, the proposal's strength, how they see that it can materialize, or that they can produce events around it, or that they can build upon it. And then that choice will go to a different committee over the common reading. And that common reading committee, so instead of just choosing a book and having a theme assigned to it later, now they choose the theme first, and then they assign a book to it. So the people who write the proposals can make suggestions on the book. However, this common reading committee will come together and look at the theme and start looking at books that are relevant to the theme, that can help build upon the theme, and that would be interesting and appropriate for the student body. They purchase about 8,200 books for incoming students, faculty, staff, and community members. And they also focus on collaborating with other offices to put on events. This also includes organizations. So what Twister explained to us was the process for this, where they used to just have like one big event or a few big events. Now anybody that has an event that they think will tie into the common experience theme, they'll go through a process where they can come to they'll go through a process where they talk about the event, and they will go in front of Twister and other people, and they'll make a decision on whether that event is actually tied to the theme or whether it's not. And if it is, they'll put it on the schedule, and it just becomes a bigger and bigger program. An example that we have of this is astronaut Jose Hernandez coming to campus.
In reviewing the Common Experience program through Cotter's 8-stage process of creating major change, we'll start with the first one, establishing a sense of urgency. Dr. Frost and the other founding members created a proposal to bring a Common Experience, or CE, program to Texas State. In creating the guiding coalition, the founding members, along with a handful of other faculty and staff, were a part of the initial brainstorming team. They developed a vision and strategy by creating a visionary document detailing the purpose and goals of the Common Experience. And in the 4th stage, communicating the change vision, they laid out the details of the budding CE program through a series of memos and regular meetings with the coalition. The 5th stage, empowering broad-based action, entailed creating a program that is inclusive of students, faculty, staff, and the community at large in this monumental program that would reach a wider audience and make a big impact. The first year of the CE program generated initial success or wins, and it was continued the following year. In consolidating their gains and continuing to produce more change, the CE staff refined the proposal, policy, and marketing process, expanding the scope of their initial programming endeavors. Lastly, as the director of the Common Experience program, Twister has developed a successful marketing and proposal process that values thought and impact over convenience.
The next thing we're going to talk about is the areas of strength that we see in the Common Experience program within the terms of Cotter's model. So the first thing I'm going to talk a little bit about is the guiding coalition. So with this program, they started off as a small team, and it was a team effort from the beginning. Something unique, I guess, about this program is that team effort is a continuous process. It has not kind of dropped off. And not only that, it has grown tremendously. So where they went from 4 founders and a small team of people, they now have roughly 90 committee members for the Common Experience. And I think that just shows, the tremendous amount of growth that the program has had, but also that many people, find this to be an important project, so that they all kind of have gotten behind this change that had happened. The second area of strength that we see is with the vision and strategy. There is a lot of thought put into constructing a vision. There was originally, as we got to see in the interview, we got to view the actual proposal for this program. And there was several pages and a lot of thought. That quote from the beginning of the presentation came directly from there. And their whole vision was to connect the students, connect the community members, connect the coursework, connect the faculty, have these common conversations so that, we're working as a team to a common goal. And they've done fairly well as of late in communicating this vision to not only faculty, staff, but students through social media and the marketing techniques that they use for the program itself. The last area of strength that we've identified that we'll talk about today are the new approaches that they have. So this goes along with step 8 or level 8, the anchoring new approaches in the culture. While Twister is very knowledgeable and has a plethora of years of experience with this specific program, he is very adaptable and he is not set in one way of doing things. We notice that he is very quick to come up with ways to improve the program, improve its efficiency and its impact. Case in point, one of the changes that he made recently was the policy he enacted last year on the theme committees or the theme proposals and who it would be sent out to, and the rules based on what it had to be and who could be a part of it, and there had to be a faculty member or a staff member with a student, because if a student graduated, then you wouldn't have a theme chair. So just little small things like that. But also one of the biggest new approaches or changes that he has made that we've seen is in the form of their social media marketing.
Although the initiative continues to evolve and embrace new challenges and directions each year, establishing a sense of urgency is not something the common experience finds necessary, since they continue to seek the same pace and organization it's had in the past. The first year the common experience started, there was no conversation on the short-term wins that year, and how it impacted and what was created and what it meant. Rather than celebrating small victories, we kept working together to make it what it is today. It has been hard to assess student involvement at events, but Twister defines a successful theme year as one that students talk about years later rather than tangible data. When students leave with a memory and years later bring it up, that's the real win. Other ways to assess are to get the students to write about the events through their university seminar course.
Despite the difficulties in gathering feedback, Twister shared with us the following stats, which they had just put together to present at the annual First Year Experience Conference in Las Vegas. If you want to know more about this conference, don't worry, we'll get there. But let it be known that the Texas State Common Experience is making an impact with its 89% participation rate and 200 plus academic events this year. This past weekend, they actually broke the record for number of Common Experience events for a single theme at the annual Leadership Institute, in which both keynote speakers spoke to the topic of innovation. The undergraduate student worker in charge of the Common Experience's social media marketing also got the chance to present at this first-year experience conference, since the engagement with the program's social media at Texas State is 3,300% higher than the higher ed average.
So the Common Experience social media marketing platform they have is a force to be reckoned with, but it was not always this way. As you saw on the previous slide, the engagement on social media is 3,300% above the average for higher education. So again, it wasn't always like this. There were accounts that were out there in the Twitter sphere, and they had been managed for a little while, but after a certain point, they were said to be poorly managed, meaning for a good year and a half, they posted like once every 2 weeks or so, but then after that, there was nothing. So something that Twister made a goal of his in terms of like the new approaches as well, we can tie that into earlier. He made it a goal to get the passwords and shut all of the old accounts down and create new ones. So what he has done, being the driving force behind this movement to social media, is, create an active presence on different forms. So the ones that are heavily used are Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is used to push events, and then Instagram is used to entice student participation. He said most people don't look at Instagram when they're trying to find an event to go to. It's Twitter. Twitter is the one that people look at the most. And they have a Facebook page as well, but he said outside of a few faculty and staff and some parents and a random student here or there, they don't really have as much of a reach on Facebook, but they do still have a page. Something interesting, and again, it goes back to the core of this program is connecting students. The program now actually employs undergraduate students from classes within the media and marketing departments, especially from the advanced social media courses. They actually have a student right now on what they call their creative team who runs their social media. I believe her exact title is social media coordinator, but they also have a digital content developer. But that particular student actually got to go with the director and assistant director to a conference recently and presented on her social media strategies for other Common Experience programs, which is, a pretty big deal. So it was kind of awesome for her to get to do that.
If you wanted to learn a bit more about that first year experience conference I mentioned earlier, this slide is for you. Every year, the National Resource Center hosts its annual FYE conference for student affairs professionals that work with first-year students and students in transition, presenting on topics of scholarship, policy, and best practice. One of the conference's biggest draws, though, is it offers publishing companies an arena to promote and sell their books to professionals looking for Common Experience readers. Some schools seek to find a particular pre-selected book and a good bulk deal, as these books are often ordered by the thousands. Others attend with an open mind, ready to be hit with some stroke of genius and inspiration. Twister suggested it is best to have an idea or theme before attending this conference, because trying to create an overarching theme off of one book can be somewhat limiting and difficult to make last an entire year. Feel free to check out the link if you want to learn more, but the 2020 FYE conference is in Washington, D.C., just saying. We hope you have enjoyed our presentation about the birth and refinement of the Common Experience program here at Texas State. We thank you and leave you with this final thought. Change may be the only constant in life, but with organizational change theory to guide us, we have the power to make lasting and impactful changes in the world.